What's up, team? We were having a great conversation until producer Chris just kind of faded in that music on us to make us shut up and actually get on with this podcast. So thank you, PC, for keeping us on schedule here. We are live today on a Wednesday.
Yep, hump day.
Wednesday afternoon, hump day. Did you guys have a good Memorial Day?
I was good. Got 2 rounds of golf in, some pool time. Good sun, as you can see.
Yeah, good. Did a little boating, did a little kayaking, a little bit of cornhole.
Talked about the kayaking, so you got your
your
active workout in there.
That's right.
That, huh?
I sure did.
Yep. I talked about my golf and got my walking. Yep.
Nice work, Chris. Nice. That's good. When you go boating, do you do tubing? Do you just kind of hang out? You cruise? Did you go swimming?
You know, it was I went boating the day after hosting a birthday party, so getting thrown around on a tube was not at the top of my list.
Right.
Typically, yes, but that day, no.
Makes sense.
So just ride it.
Man, I'm always so sore when I do tubing.
It hurts.
It's rough.
It's good for you.
It is good for you, though. Josh, if you could play golf, a whole round of golf with one club, what would it be? What's your go-to?
Well, I'm best with a pitching wedge, but I couldn't play a whole round with just a pitching wedge.
Right.
That's my best for sure. Probably a 7.
Yeah,
That's
solid.
the exact number I was thinking of.
Solid.
Probably a 7.
Exact same number.
Yeah.
I was like, it's got to be a 7.
Solid. Yeah, I don't miss much with my 6.
What'd you do this
My
weekend?
6. What did I? Oh, yeah. Thanks for asking, Donovan. I went down to the Lake Monroe. Shout out to B-Town. I have no ties or connections with B-Town whatsoever, but I do like Lake Monroe. We went pleasure cruising. We didn't go in the water because it was cold. It was hot outside, but it was cold. Yeah, we played around golf and then hopped on the boat. Went for a nice evening cruise. Had some good food, and that was about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
How'd you shoot?
Not great. We played best ball.
There you go.
We just tried to scoot through it real quick. It was busy. Very busy. So I'm wearing this hat because I'm a big Borussia Dortmund fan, and unfortunately they lost the other day to Bayern Munich.
Does anyone in this room know what Borussia Dortmund means?
Soccer.
It's German.
Oh, I feel like you heard us talking
There we
about
go.
it.
See, you do. No, Josh just knows because everybody else knows except for Donovan.
I took German class.
Producer Chris didn't know.
He just nodded his head yes. That
Like,
he
yeah, I
did know.
absolutely
Right,
knew. Why
yeah,
are you saying
right.
that?
So today we're talking, and you guys will see our podcast with Neil Spruce. Lots of really good information there. Talked a little bit about supplements for adults and kids, which was really informative for all you parents out there looking to feed your kids the right things, keep them energetic. And, calcium was a big thing that he talked about. So that's what we would call probably, fall into that micronutrient type of thing. We're going to talk macronutrients today, and basal metabolic rate, or BMR, which is probably a term that most people into fitness have heard, or working with people in fitness have heard, and maybe not understood exactly what it meant, right? So, Donovan, what's a macronutrient?
Protein, carbs, fats.
Boom.
The big 3.
Pow, pow, pow. Right there. There it is. Josh, BMR.
Well, BMR, I want to go back to the macros first.
Let's do it.
Because,
Let's do
do that first. Let's go there first because, macros are, there's a lot of misconceptions and kind of people not really understanding kind of where you're at on those and following them. And I think that people think fats, and most people kind of think that's bad. But you got your good fats like almonds and avocados and stuff that you actually need. Good nutrient dense ones, so those. And protein is obviously huge for muscle building, anything, but that's one thing that we kind of alluded to a few days ago as far as like hitting your window when if you're trying to put on muscle mass, or even if you're trying to lose that weight and get that post workout, get that protein right away. It's about getting the good stuff, the good macros in there when you can. So like I said, people think of fats and you think of bad fatty foods, but there are good fats, carbs. People think of carbs being bad all the time too, and that's not the case. So just to kind of touch on those real quick.
All food is good when you eat it at the right time and the right stuff.
Boom.
Well, not all food, I guess, then. You have to eat the right stuff.
Right.
Yep.
So all types of food.
That's right.
There you go.
The right macronutrients.
There we go.
I like it. I like it when
Bring
Donovan
back.
tees us up.
Yeah.
So so you go to him and he says the macros and then the BMRs, and I just leech off of his
Love it.
his thing.
That's why he's here.
Yeah,
He
puts
does such a
the
good
tee
job.
on there. We can make a golf reference. He puts
What's
the tee there.
that?
Yep.
What's that person called in volleyball?
Setter.
The libero.
Oh, is it a thing?
Is it really? Whoa, producer Chris really
Hey.
knew that one. He was emphatically nodding his head when he said
Absolutely,
that.
that's the libero.
Don't think I've heard that word before. So
I'm not very good at volleyball, which doesn't make sense because I'm tall. That's okay.
The libero is short traditionally. Is that right?
Really?
yeah,
Producer
they set up
Chris?
the
Producer
tall. They
Chris?
set up the
Yeah.
tall guy to spike it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, in the back. Okay, I got you.
They have a
So he
special
doesn't need to
shirt?
be tall.
Yeah.
They have a special shirt.
That's that person.
The libero.
Wow.
Wow, you learn something new every day.
Volleyball will never be the same when I watch it on the Olympics once every 4 years. Man, it's exciting.
Throw that out at a party. Oh, nice shot by the libero. Or I don't know, whatever you do in volleyball. Nice hit.
Sure.
So now,
Nothing, yeah.
BMR.
Yeah, BMR. Now go with that.
BMR, basal metabolic rate. This is going to be how many calories you're going to burn in a day just being active.
There you go.
A lot of the calculators that you see, you have to plug in a number based on your activity level, sedentary up to super active.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to spit out the number of calories you're going to burn a day.
Yeah, to maintain the weight we're at right now, right? So I think mine, last time I checked, and this is obviously a rough estimate, but about 1,710 calories for me to consume every day to keep my weight, right? When we do any type of training, I think specifically using a chest strap heart rate monitor, my HIIT workouts are anywhere between about 350 to 600 calories, depending on the duration and the intensity. So you subtract that from your basal metabolic rate, right? And that's what we would call a deficit, right? And that's what Neil Spruce was talking about during our podcast, something we're going to touch on today, just because one of the main things we think of when we diet is restricting calories. And that's a no-no.
Yeah.
We don't do that. Don't starve your body. Trust me, it's not going to work. Because what happens when you starve your body, you actually literally just shift your brain chemistry and your body's chemistry, right? We get to the point where you're actually holding on to calories,
Yeah.
right? You're not increasing, you're not keeping that metabolic rate. You're decreasing it because you're starving yourself and your body's thinking, I need to adapt. I need to burn less calories.
Yeah, and
right?
it starts realizing that, hey, I'm not getting as many calories now, so I need to store more on the side to be able to essentially like feed itself. It's not getting fed what it normally is used to, so it's just kind of that. So that's why when people talk about they're trying to lose weight and they just starve themselves and eat once a day, one small little serving a day and try to do that. I mean, you're throwing your body off whack, and you can actually make yourself kind of look like you're gaining more weight as far as storing more fat on there because your body's going that route. So that's definitely not good for you either.
Skinny fat.
Yeah.
Skinny fat's the term,
Hate to see it.
right?
I hate to see
Hate to see it, man. I hate to see it. That's why protein's super important, right? When I was in school in my undergrad, it was always taught that carbs are king, right? Carbohydrates are not the enemy. Your diet's your enemy. If you're eating things like bad carbohydrates, there's such thing, like Josh was saying, about good and bad carbs, good and bad fats as well. You okay?
Got the kind.
There it is.
Oh, I didn't want to cough in the microphone.
Just to let you guys know, right on cue, Donovan is drinking his protein right now. dotFIT protein, dotFIT bottle,
That's right.
UFC Gym, Indianapolis
That's right.
logo
That
on
fit
it.
aminos too, you say? Or no aminos?
Not in this one.
Oh.
That's in the post.
Oh, okay. The post. I got you.
Do you mix your creatine with your protein, or do you take it separately?
I put everything
he
in a
just-
bottle.
He just throws a concoction in of everything he can get. If it's powder form, it's going in there.
Literally
He's
everything.
good to
The
go.
protein, creatine, aminos. I think that's usually it. They all just go in here, shake them up. Top pops off, it explodes because there's jet fuel in there, and then
And then he's
yep,
for
and that's it.
3 hours after he goes. Just keeps going.
Do you take it before you go kayaking?
The aminos, I'll pop those sometimes.
Always, though.
Just give me a little
Yeah.
boost. Post, nah.
Right,
But pre, yeah, I'll just throw that stuff in all day.
right.
Why not?
It's a good thing you got your Siri fan app because I don't know how you sleep otherwise. All this 600 milligrams of caffeine a day.
Hashtag box fan.
Hashtag box fan. You got to burn them too, right? I always heard, and I thoroughly believe that coffee is a great fat burner before a workout, right? Have you guys heard that too?
Mm-hmm.
I believe I heard that from Jillian Michaels at one point.
Mm.
This was back when I first got into fitness, and she was in good shape. So I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then now that's the only pre-workout I take is coffee. Just drink a cup of coffee, go in. But like we're saying, dotFIT has a great coffee supplement or a caffeine supplement, like the, what's it called? No Rage.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, dotFIT. Yeah, the No Rage has about 170 milligrams of caffeine, which is about 40 or so milligrams more than what a standard cup of coffee would be. So it's not that bad as far as just adding a lot of caffeine.
Yeah, and it's about almost half of what other comparable pre-workouts are. There's a lot of them that are about 300 or more. So, yeah, so that's not a crazy amount.
Right. Back to the macros, and you think percentages, right? And I think a lot of people probably see these fitness people on Instagram talking about counting your macros and things like that. So you have 9 calories, right, per gram of fat molecule, 4 per protein, 4 per carbohydrates. And what we mean by that is that's how you count macros. That's what that means essentially, right? So your percentages would be the percentage of your total caloric intake divided by a lot of math, right? To get what your percentages would be on protein. You just multiply whatever the 30% would be by your 4 grams. That's how much you should be doing as far as total caloric intake, if you're counting it that way. We could do a whole podcast on how to count macros, but that's essentially what they're talking about. So when they talk about counting macros, yes, it sounds fancy, but essentially it's just what are you balancing out in your diet? Do you guys have any specific recommendations on balances?
Well, I think there's a lot of general ones you'll see, like a 30-30-40. Like
Right.
people just do it. Like you see a very general thing, and that's not always. I mean, it could be, but it's very. It's not going to be the, okay, I want to lose weight, so you're 30 grams of this, 30 grams of this, 40 grams of this, and that's uniform for everybody. So it is specific to the person. You have to figure it out, like how Jordan was just saying. Like you can't just do that. And you'll see, I've seen a lot of the people that sell like nutrition programs and stuff that will say that. It's like, oh, yep, you got to do 30% this, 30% this, 40% of this. It's almost uniformed all the time. That's not how you work it out. It's got to be tailored to you and a specific of what you're looking for as well, not just for how your body is set up, but if you're looking to add muscle mass, you're looking to lose some weight, you're a long distance runner, you're trying to keep up there, then obviously those are going to play into what all you need. So I mean that's the biggest thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? You get pretty cut up. What's your macro percentage
Honestly, I
breakdown?
don't know now. It's been so long now. I just kind of know where my body is and like what if I'm on high training days, I just increase a little bit on my carbs. Like I'm a big carb cycler in a way of like where if I'm gonna have a real hard high intensity interval training day and like go play basketball or something, I'm gonna up my carbs a lot more that day, and then the next probably 2 days I'll probably tone it down a little bit and I cycle that way. So I'm more. Outside of that, I just kind of I take in protein, one per pound of weight. So I make sure I'm at least hitting that every day because I'd like to at least keep my muscle mass, or if I'm trying to gain, then I'll up it a little bit. But as far as my breakdown, I haven't done my breakdown in 8 years. So it's been a while. What about you?
Well, I don't have. That's what I was asking you for. I don't know. Anytime I ever
Trying to get
dive
advice
into
from
it,
Josh.
I'm drawing a blank here. 40, 40, 20, the number you see
Yeah.
all the time is where
Yeah.
I'll start. And then, like you said, it always tweaks. Usually ends up 40, 30, 30, somewhere in there. But the
So-
protein stays consistent.
So enlighten people what you mean by 40, 40, 20.
So 40% carbs, 40% protein, 20% fat.
Right.
Yeah, and that's like I said, that could vary not only just by person, but like I said, and like what Donovan said too, that could change depending on what your days look like
Daily,
too. That's
yep.
another thing. So yeah, I mean, one day you could be 50% protein and 20% fats, and then 70% on the others on carbs or whatever. It could change depending on your carbs like that. Like I said, I kind of cycle a little bit, and some other people do too. Protein usually stays pretty close to consistently, I would say, for most people. The fats and the carbs, the ones that kind of change a little bit. I'm like Donovan, my protein intake usually stays about the same, unless I'm like really, really trying to like put on some muscle mass, then I might bump it up quite a bit. But otherwise, it stays pretty consistent for me too.
Yeah, when I was training, mine was probably, I really focused on the carbohydrate percentages, and then I would just adjust accordingly through my fats and my proteins. So like you, I would cycle between 35% and 65% for carbohydrates. So, my Monday, Wednesday, Fridays were my hard, intense, cardio-based HIIT workouts. That would be around 60 to 65% of my carbohydrates. And then my Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays would usually be a little bit heavier resistance training, which I wouldn't need as much carbohydrates for. So I'd really focus on the other things. So, and when we talk about heavy resistance training, we're not really burning any of those macronutrients by doing weightlifting, right? Because we don't need oxygen to lift weights. It's a 10 to 30 second interval. That is a recycling of your energy sources, which is why it's really important to eat correctly and have the right energy stored a day or two before, right? That's why they say that old myth was eat the night before, carbo load the night before. Well, technically it's 2 nights before. That's way more beneficial for you.
Yep.
So, yeah, it really depended for me. I think at one point I was getting up to 200 to 220 grams of protein per day. I thought that was overkill just because, for the fact that I saw results with it, absolutely. But the thing was I was really forcing myself to get in protein.
Yeah.
And the issue was I was doing that supplementally rather than adding it in my diet just because I didn't have time to eat that much protein.
That's a lot of food.
It's
It's a
200 grams
lot
of protein.
food. Yeah.
Unless you're The Rock or something. That's just
Right.
that's,
Which I'm not.
that's an appetizer.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could tell producer Chris, but I am not The Rock. Almost had it. Almost had
That's all
it.
right.
It's all right. He's had a rough week. He's done a great job though. I think we got Donovan sound added to the soundboard. Look at that.
He
Look at
played that when I walked in here,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I feel like I can make that same noise. And he's like, it's you.
It
It's like,
is
well,
you.
that's why.
Wow. Wow.
It's all coming together.
Science. Science is awesome. Technology is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about technology with, look at this segue. Let's talk about technology with counting your macronutrients.
Oh, yeah.
Donovan, is there something dotFIT does that helps us with that?
They do have a tracker built right into their, it's not an app, their website, because it's smoother with your phone. But yeah, plug in what you ate. You just type it in. Like you could type in, I don't know, Taco Bell Gordita. And it'll spit out. See all these sponsorships I'm trying to get here?
Wow.
I can't tell you the last time I went to Taco Bell, but it's just the first thing that came to mind.
Tonight.
You plug in whatever you had, and then it will tell you how many grams of each macronutrient are in that food.
How about a dotFIT bar? That would have been a good one. You could have
dotFIT bar?
Yeah,
Dang
put one of those in.
Yeah, way better than a
in front of me.
Gordita,
I
right?
tried to lay it up.
I don't
Yeah,
know, you
right.
know.
That's okay.
It's all right.
Go ahead. Let's talk about the dotFIT bar.
The dotFIT bar, yeah. Do we got the macros on the sides or no? It's back. Oh, you're all that crunching around here. What do we got? So on the dotFIT bar, 6 grams of fat, 26 grams of carbohydrates, 12 grams of protein, 190 kcals,
Kcals. What's the difference?
kilocalories.
Okay.
I'm just being fancy.
Okay. So, what he's
Are those more dangerous than regular calories?
They're kilos.
That's what I'm asking. So is that
Oh my gosh, that's the dad joke of the century right there.
Here we go.
tee it up.
Yeah.
Tee it up. There you go. Nice.
So much better.
Well played. So when we look at our packets, what Donovan is getting into, our nutritional labels are mostly, well, they're always in capital C's, right? Calorie in capital C, meaning it's a kilocalorie. So if you're doing 190 calories with a capital C, that's really, wow, quick math, 190,000 kilocalories. Is that right? That sounds right. Kilo being 1,000.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
a
gonna go with-
kilometer
Yeah, I don't
would be
We'll
1,000
go with, yeah.
meters.
That one's
No,
gonna
it-
check.
it is.
Oh, he's doing.
We got him for
He gave us a piece of paper and a pencil. We need
Write
a
it down.
calculator, producer Chris.
No, you don't, because you got my brain. It's 190,000
All right.
pounds.
Said yep. See, I was quick with yeah.
Yes.
I knew it.
I knew it. Probably would have been good to have that prepared during the
Right, this says
production
it right here in big
meeting
letters for
earlier.
us. 90 cal-
So,
That's what I was looking for.
dotFIT bar is a really quick way to get good macronutrients before a workout, after a workout, right? We do sell them at UFC Gym Indy. They actually taste really good, I think. The birthday cake one, I was actually surprised with the taste of it.
Low
For
sugar
sure.
too.
Low sugar, right? Most protein bars that you will see, not most, but a lot of them you'll see at your regular GNC or vitamin shop, right? Just those mom and pop type of nutrition places will have added sugars.
Yeah, 30 grams.
A lot.
or something, Yeah.
A lot. I think this is around.
You're probably
8
safe with
grams.
30
most.
grams, yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So I didn't want to call out a lot of people, but I did at the same time.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't say
Right.
any names.
All right.
Well, I did.
Oh. Oh. Well,
We can edit that out, right? Can we put a beep for those? All right. Well,
Can't do it. Can't do it.
thank you
Let the people
always
know.
for your contribution, producer Chris. We appreciate it. So going back to BMR, if you were to go on an app, right? So if we talk about MyFitnessPal and you enter in your weight, your activity level, things like that, it'll give you a baseline BMR, right? Good or bad? What do you think?
I think it, like you said, it's a baseline, so it's good to have it, but that's not going to be, that shouldn't be your end all be all. That's definitely more intricate things to go into, more in depth, but it's always better to have a little bit, like if you have no idea, it's better to have a little bit of knowledge, right? And then you can build from it.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, you don't need to have these formulas memorized that Jordan does and everything. And if not, you can listen to your body as well, and you can start seeing, like, if you, especially if you get that baseline, you can start playing with what's working for you and what's not, how you're feeling. You just have to really pay attention to your body too. Like when you're training, when you're doing this, like you can feel it, and then you can see the differences in your body too, how it's handling up during the training sessions, how it's working as far as if you're seeing coming towards your goals, you're seeing yourself gain a little muscle or lose that weight or whatever you're trying to do, then it's also good to where you can play with it a little bit. Like we said, you don't have to have the formula every single day and overdo it. That's where a lot of people, when they're in their diets, I feel like that's where people just like, oh, this is just too much for me. They start, if you're a person that eats, sweets every single day, and then all of a sudden you're just like, okay, I'm quitting, and you completely cold turkey quit for 3 weeks, you're going to get so sick of it, and it's going to be so hard for you, you're just going to give up. If you slowly wean yourself off, just like anything else, or if you slowly start making the transition to, instead of eating 5 candy bars a day every day, then you drop down to 2, and then just go down, and then you eat 1 a day, and then you can do it 1 every couple days or something. You don't have to do everything so extreme and don't overcomplicate it for yourself, essentially, is what I think.
Right. If you're having 300 calories a week of ice cream, that's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
It's not going to destroy your diet.
I was hoping that's the direction you were going.
I do. No, but we can talk about the pizza and the banana peppers later. Yeah, right.
I think a lot of it's awareness too with these tracking apps for MyFitnessPal or dotFIT or whatever, because a lot of people I start with, same thing. Like, I don't want to count calories. I don't want to, it's overwhelming. I tried that. It didn't work. I say, don't count it. Just track it. Just put in what you ate. That's it. That's all you need to do. Because there's a research study, a lot of them actually, that show people who just log it eat less.
Yeah.
If your goal is weight loss, because it brings a little bit of awareness. If you finish your day, it spits out its numbers like, oh, you should have 1,700. And then you finish your day at like 4,000. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm not even close. So you naturally start to cut back.
Yeah.
Right.
Physically seeing it there can help, whether it's good or bad. And you're like, oh yeah. I mean, and it gets you excited. If you hit your goal that day, then you get excited. You're like, oh man, look at me. I did that, upped my protein like I was supposed to, or lowered my calorie, whatever it is, your carbs, whatever. I mean, you get in there and you start seeing it. Then you can also, like you said, if it's too high, you can adjust it. It's definitely good to have that stuff in there, I think.
Yeah, it's a great baseline. Mm-hmm. Like, it's good to just know where you're at ballpark wise. And then if you get into the habit of really paying attention to what you're eating, then that's all that matters, right? You don't have to do it for the next 50 years of your life, counting every single meal, entering it all into the dotFIT app, and making sure you're tracking every single calorie and macronutrient.
What would you say, Josh? 8 years ago is the last time you did it.
Yeah.
This doesn't look like something that gave up 8 years ago to me. So,
right. Yeah, and you get used to it after a while. Yeah. You get used to what you're eating. You start, if you're a creature of habit like me, it's pretty similar meals that you're eating quite often, right? Mm-hmm. So you're really used to what you're putting into your body, and just, you don't have to measure out anything. Like, I had a client ask me, should I buy a food scale? And I said, please don't get that far into
if you're that committed, I mean, you can, but
I mean, sure, I guess, if you really want to take the time to do it. But like Josh said, if you go, it's like trying to jump onto a runaway train, right? Just trying to quit things cold turkey, trying to switch up your diet. I'm going to hit this hard for this 8 weeks. How many people have done that in this room? Yeah. You said, I have an 8-week diet. I'm going to hit it.
I've been through that.
I've done it. Yeah.
I've been through it.
So I did that I did the keto for almost about 8 weeks.
Yeah. And how many people have done that and fallen off after a week or two?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've done that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. So don't be discouraged when that happens to you. Now, the thing that you don't want to do when you fall off of that habit, right? So say a day you have a cheeseburger or a slice of pizza at a work meeting. Remember those? when you could be in the office around people, as we're saying that right now. But
Well, this is about the
6 feet
extent of
apart.
our office.
Right.
Yeah, this is our office
about
work
This is
here.
our crew. So.
Right. But if you have that piece of pizza and then later on that day you're like, well, I'm going to go out for Mexican because I already had a bad meal already. No, get back onto it. Don't just fall off completely just because of one bad meal.
Yeah, you don't need to get discouraged off of that. I mean, you should treat yourself sometimes. Like we were talked about that a couple times ago. Like all of us, even though we're into it and we stay pretty strict most of the time. Like I say, I probably eat healthy 85-90% of the time, but once a week I'll eat something like cheeseburger, fried chicken, or pizza or something. I mean, chicken wings, whatever, like something like that, and have a little wine here or there, maybe, you know.
Right.
But I mean, it's you can't overwhelm yourself even if you're into it all the time to where you want to do it and like want these goals. You have to make little goals and little kind of rewards for yourself as well, so that you don't need to be crazy on it all the time if that's not you. If you're a person that needs to be 100% in and do it, then that's great. That's your personality. That's good to go. But also don't get discouraged if you have those off days. That's where I think a lot of people just fall off. They just give up and like, oh, this is too difficult. And
Yep.
So
Oh, I've already cheated twice this week, so
might as well just keep going.
whatever. I'll just keep going.
I'll start on Monday.
Yeah. That's the one I hear all the time. I'll hop back on it Monday.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Saw a really interesting podcast today from Joe Rogan talking to somebody that said they didn't have time to exercise.
Is that right?
And his thing was, do you have time to get up and walk to the refrigerator? Then you have time to exercise, right? Get up, walk around, burn some calories, get into your calorie deficit. So 1,700 calories is a lot of food throughout a day, right? So what's my excuse when I'm either, I'm hitting that, but I'm not going into a deficit because I'm saying that, I'm just going to eat well and then I'm not going to exercise.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think you can always find time. You can,
Absolutely.
if you're walking, you're at work and you normally take the elevator, take the stairs. You can, if you're sitting down at your desk, then stand up, do that, move around while you're on the phone, whatever. You can move around a little bit. You can do some air squats right there while you're there. I mean, there's always time. If you don't have time to go block out an hour and a half for the gym every day, then that's understandable. That could be a case, but you could always find time.
Yeah, that's not an excuse when I'm going through it with people. If you don't have time, get up half an hour earlier.
Right.
Or stay up half an hour late.
Right.
If you really have 18 straight, I'm so busy hours in a day, get up 30 minutes earlier.
Right.
Because it's not optional. You don't choose, I'm going to brush my teeth today. I'm not. You just do it every day because it's a habit and you have to do it. Now, it's a lot less time, but exercise is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's non-negotiable. You just have to do it.
Yep. And one of my old workout buddies that really inspired me to get into weightlifting, we had somebody ask him, what's your motivation to go to the gym? And he's like, I just do it.
Yeah.
I don't have any real motivation. I just do it.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like with my clients all the time, I just told them, getting to the gym is half the battle.
Oh, yeah.
You walk through those doors, when you get to the gym, you're there.
And some of those days that you don't want to go and you're feeling it, those end up being my best workouts.
Oh,
some
yeah.
days. Once I'm
Yep.
just like, I just don't want to be here. And then you start going and you get there and it turns your whole day around because you're already feeling whatever happened, whether you're tired or work or whatever, it's got you feeling like, and then once you get going in there, just all your endorphins get going, all that, then you start feeling better. And then the rest of it, you're just like, so those are the best ones. So you're going to have those days, but you just got to push through. And like you said, I mean, like Donovan said, the stuff like that, like, you got to brush your teeth, you got to eat, you got to do this. I mean, if it becomes part of a habit, they say it takes like 2 weeks to make it a habit. Once you do it, then it just becomes part of your routine and what you want to do. And then you look forward to it. And then it just happens.
Feel weird if you miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's any type of habit that you have. When you just don't do it, you just feel weird. You feel like something's missing from your life, right?
Yep.
And you can get a lot more of this information as far as nutrition tips, dotFIT information, workout ideas, things like that, following obviously our YouTube podcast page, UFC Gym Indy, as well as our Facebook and Instagram profiles at UFC Gym Whitestown and Class UFC Gym in Noblesville, which is open now, which is super exciting.
Yep.
We've seen a lot of really good feedback, people getting back into it. I think a lot of people were itching to get back into that gym setting. These at-home workouts are great. They're good to keep people moving, but the thing is, there's no substitute for having that social aspect of exercise.
Yep.
Right?
Feeding off other people's energy and all that. Yep. So
Working with a trainer, getting back into
Can't beat that.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't beat that.
You know, we do nutrition consultations at UFC Gym Whitestown as well. We have the screen back there, right? Nutrition consultations through our trainers. We all have really good background as far as sports nutrition, and you know, none of us are dietitians. We're not going to write out a full meal plan for you because that's just outside our scope of practice. But we can point you in the right direction as far as supplements. We have great supplements that are exclusive only to practitioners, like personal trainers, right? You can't just walk into, you know, so-and-so place and buy dotFIT on a shelf. You have to go through trainers, you have to go through practitioners, you have to go through professionals to get these types of supplements, and that's because they're that good, right? We wouldn't carry them if they weren't. They wouldn't be associated with the UFC gym brand if they weren't good supplements, right? So think about counting macronutrients. You don't have to do it yourself, right? We have the dotFIT app that'll do it for you. You just enter in your food. It'll give you the balance out ideas. If you want better ideas on how to balance them out based on your specific goals, contact us at our phone number, 317-824-9600. You can call us or text us. We can go through that. We can always set up a consultation with Mr. Donovan himself, our fitness director at UFC Gym Whitestown. Through the text, phone call, or at our Facebook page, UFC Gym Whitestown. Shoot us a message and we'll get set up. We'll book an appointment for that, as well as talk to you about our great membership options as well. So
we're going to be opening next month. We're on track. So
super close.
Getting there.
Yep.
Exciting times.
So I know we talked cheat meals. We got a few minutes.
Producer Chris, did we bust on the time?
No, I think we're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
32 over here. I thought you said we had 30.
Oh, well, don't listen to him. Don't worry about that.
Okay. I'm just checking with the pro.
See, we're good to go.
Bless us with more time.
Yes, there we go. Last few minutes, what do you guys want to talk about? Let's talk about anything.
Let's talk about how Donovan was supposed to go have his pizza. He said he has every weekend, and he didn't. So we were talking about treating yourself, and he decided not to treat himself this weekend.
Called out.
So what happened?
Well, I was hosting a birthday party.
Okay.
Friend's 30th birthday.
Dirty 30.
What did we end up having for food? Bratwurst,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
peppers and onions, cake.
Which
Always
peppers we just established are vegetables.
Well, these were green.
Right.
We did not dive in.
Those are still vegetables.
We didn't dive into
Don't worry.
green. We
Right.
talked about banana.
Right.
Those are still
right.
vegetables. Don't
Right.
worry.
Yeah. And then, some sweets, some chips, some dips. So it was definitely a cheat day.
So you went a different route.
I did go a different route.
Josh, did you have a cheat meal this weekend?
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah.
I didn't have any sweets though, but I had some brats and dogs as well, and some a couple sandwiches. I had a lot more bread than I normally do. I'll just say that. Buns and all that. Yeah. I didn't really have any sweets, but I got a lot of bread in, which I normally don't. So that was really my only cheat.
Yeah. What did I have? I had some pizza. I had a couple burgers.
Where was the
some
pizza from?
Noble Romans, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We had some family in town from Denver, and they have to get specific foods when they come to Indiana.
Okay.
Right? Like I have a buddy that comes in and has to get a specific food when he comes in from San Diego, and then same thing from the East Coast when they come to the Midwest. Apparently, we just have a lot of fast food chains that people love.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
But then, there's other fast food chains out west and east that we don't have that I love.
And we love those.
Wow.
You always want what you don't have.
It's incredible, right? Like if it popped up next to us, would I still want it? Probably.
I get in and out every time I'm in Vegas.
Yeah, right. Right. And mine's, I guess it's coming, but Shake Shack
Oh, yeah.
coming. So that's coming to Indianapolis Airport. So we reached out to them about sponsorship. Chris, you got these all written down, right? As far as sponsors we need to reach out
Who
to.
sent those emails? He's on it.
Making notes.
Blank stare. We're trying to involve Chris a lot here lately, but he does not have a microphone, nor will he ever get one. So if you guys want to hear from him, let us know. Maybe we could do a full podcast.
One day we're going to
Yeah,
switch.
we'll
Maybe
feature
one
him,
of us should run the... What do you got back there? A control board or something? And then you do this, and we'll do that.
That is terrifying.
Press buttons and stuff.
Well, if Donovan's doing, we'll just have a lot of.
Nailed it with that sound. So thank you to trying to sign off here. Thank you, team, for joining us at the UFC Gym Indy podcast found on our YouTube channel. Please stay tuned for our Neil Spruce interview. Very good stuff there with a lot of good information, a lot more good information than our podcast. We have good information. We just kind of get off topic a little bit, but that's fun to talk about that kind of stuff. Message us, comment, tell us about your favorite cheat meal. Again, you can follow us on our Facebook and Instagram pages at UFC Gym Whitestown. We will be opening at the end of June. That's a really solid date. We don't have a specific date yet, but we are very confident that we will be opening at that time. So stay tuned for some tours once we get some equipment. And then you can also access more information about our dotFIT supplements on dotFIT.com or reach out to the studio and or our Instagram pages and UFC Gym Whitestown for more information. So next week we're on a different topic. We're going to talk strength training. We're going to talk weight loss next week. We got Neil Spruce coming back to talk to us about weight loss. We're going to go through that a little bit more in depth, and it's going to be going. You guys won't want to miss that one. We're excited about that. So thank you, team, for joining us. Thanks to producer Chris for everything that he does as well. Hope you all had a safe Memorial Day, and we will talk to you soon.